To perform a heels elevated goblet squat, you'll need something to elevate your heels up onto. So I have a yoga wedge that I'm using, which is really great because it's stable and it has a little bit of give to it. If you don't have a yoga wedge, you could always use some kind of a plate. You could use books, something that gives you an inch or two of heel lift, especially if you don't have lifting shoes. And then what this does is it allows you to get a little bit deeper into your squat, especially if you have limited ankle mobility. This can be a huge issue with squatting. Knees will cave in. So this actually allows you to more easily get down into the squat without worrying about the limitation of your ankles. The other thing that it does is if you don't have to worry about limited mobility, it just puts more of an emphasis on the quads. So because you're able to allow the knees to track forward a little bit more, and because you're able to get a little bit more depth, you will feel more work in your quadriceps and maybe even your glutes. So you'll get set up by putting your feet up onto your lift. Get into a normal squat position. Try not to change what you're doing with your feet or your legs just because your heels are elevated. You want to set up your lift so that you can just get into your normal squat. So even with this yoga wedge, I can turn my toes out. I can have my normal squat width. I don't have to worry about changing any of that up. And then from there, I'm going to hold the dumbbell at my chest. So dumbbell, kettlebell, whatever it is you're using for your goblet squats. Just remember, at the chest, elbows in and underneath, hugging it nice and tight. We don't want it to get too far away from us or too far down. We're keeping the chest elevated. You're going to press the knees out over the toes, allow the hips to drop down and back, and you'll immediately feel that it's easier to get a lot more depth. Now, if this does give you any issues for some reason, if this extra depth causes some issues in the knees, you might want to back off, either use a lower lift or just stop yourself from going down quite so low. You could do a half squat with this version, but the heel lift is going to be great for just allowing you to get a little bit more depth to your squat, okay? So as it gets easier, increase the amount of weight that you're using.